Hi guys, so got the board on the bench here ready to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop these 4 chips out that are socketed and then give them a bit of a clean, put them back in, check all these connectors here, just make sure the other connectors are okay, make sure there's no shorting pins or anything like that on this board, and give it a bit of a clean. And if everything looks okay, I think we pop it back into the machine. I'll put it back on the bench and we'll fire it up and see if it comes back to life, because it could be one of these connectors that may have been a bit dodgy and that these go from here to the video board. So if we get that side sorted, I'm only going to attach it by a couple of screws just for earthing purposes, but if we get it to that point where it's going to boot up, we may not get the floppy or the hard drive to come up, and at that point then we're going to pop those out and have a look at those. That's why I don't want to bolt this in permanently until we get to that point. So I think we'll do that. If we have no joy with this, then I think it's going to have to be looking at the video board inside that machine, which means we're going to have to pop the power supply back out so I can get in at that board and possibly disconnect the connectors for the tubes and that to take that whole board out and see if it's working okay and that there's not any issues. As I said, I'm a wee bit suspect with one of those capacitors, which may have an issue, it may not. Could have been just how they were made back then. It just looks so it's got a little bit of bulging going on. But anyway, it won't hurt to pull it out and check it. I'll go ahead and pop these out and look at them and make sure they're all okay. And if they are and everything else looks okay, we'll carry on from there. Alright guys, I'll get on with it. Okay, so I've had a look at it and it looks pretty clean all over. And this is the version 1.1 multi-board, which was the multi-language board for different parts of the world. And you know that because the boards are actually marked, etched into them. And this one has the multi on here, and that's the controller card, which has multi on it as well. Now, looking at this, everything looks quite tidy on it. There's no stresses, no nothing. So the issue could be on that video board. I was going to go through and do some tests on here. I don't think I will. I mean, the only thing I'm thinking of now, maybe to check, would be the crystals, to make sure we're actually getting signals through to the crystals, and voltages to the chips would be the other thing to check. So I mean, we can do that with this, or we can do it with the oscilloscope. So I think that would be the next step. I won't plug the floppy and the hard drive in. We'll have to plug these cables in, because this is gives you the video and the brightness and contrast and power to the board as well. So I think might be our next step is to put the case up on the bench here, put this board back on. I'll drop a couple of screws in here and probably one in here just so it doesn't move around. I think we'll plug this up and we'll fire it up and see if we get anything out of it. I think that's the plan. Alright, so we'll get on with that. Got the unit up on the bench now, so what I am going to do is pop the board on it. I'll have to rotate it around a couple of times to get to the sides I need to. I'll do that, and then we will have a look at, see if this thing will boot up. I'll just make sure that's on okay. Right, so I'll do that and I'll just spin it around. So as I say, I'm going to move this around so I can get to the board. Alright, so I'll get to that now. Okay guys, I'll aim it like this and I'll turn the side camera on. What we can do there is then you'll be able to see if it fires up or not. So I've got it going through the light bulb tester at the moment just to be safe. So I will power this on and we'll turn it on and see what happens. Absolutely nothing with this. I'll check the voltages first. So we should have our 5 and 12s coming up the top here. That's going to be ground. That should be 5, 12, and that should be minus 12. Well, we have nothing coming into this at all. I will double check to make sure I did plug the plug into the motherboard, because that could very well be an issue. I'll just double check that. I'm pretty sure I did plug it in. I'll just pop this off. Yeah, everything's plugged down there. Did I put that? Yes, I did. I'm pretty sure I did. did. Alright, well, I'll just screw this back down and I'll just check to make sure I haven't knocked the mains switch on the test bench off, so there's no power coming through to this machine. Let's screw this back down because everything's connected. I was just checking to make sure I put the two red leaded plug onto the power supply so that that's what switches it on and off from the front. So I was thinking, don't tell me I did an idiot thing and left that off, but no, I haven't. That's on there. Now that plug here, this one, we can try and get you in shot. Spin it around so you can see it. Now I'll move the other one out. Now this plug down the bottom here, this one is your power in. So it has the 5 volts, 2 Fs, the 12 volt and the minus 12 volt on it. And realistically the minus 12 is probably only used for the modems and the RAM. Some of the RAM needed minus 12 volts to work. You can change them. If they're 16s and they're the older type that uses the minus 12, you can pull them out and drop in some 4-bit by 64s, rewire them and drop them in, and you don't need the 12 volt rail anymore, the minus 12. So that's a good upgrade if you want to do it. They're more reliable. Some of this older RAM was not very reliable with the minus voltages. So just something if you wanted to, something to do. Now the second one, this one here, this white one, this is the keyboard connector. So this is the one that goes out the front to the keyboard. It goes on here. And then this one, goes to the video board. Now I'm pretty sure this is probably information from here that goes down to the video board, and then I think the basic video chip is on here, and it goes down to here, and then it does the rest of it down on the board there. It's been a while since I've had one of these apart, so what I will do is I'll switch this around and I'll just have a look to make sure. So that might help if I turn the power on, which goes to this machine. We'll turn that back around. We'll make this a bit bigger for you. There we go. Right, so this time we will try it. Power on. And the hard drive's spinning up, which means we have power. We get the orange screen. Now that's pretty good. You might be wondering, oh, what do I mean it's pretty good? So the machine is partially starting up. So we know that much. So we know that it's trying to start up and it's not getting any video signal. It could be, and hopefully it's not, to do with the video ROM or one of the video chips. Hoping it's not along those lines. The other thing I could do is to dig out the 14 I've got and drop that into here. And they take all the same connectors up the side here and that, and fire it up and see if that boots this up. Now if that boots this up, then we know the video board underneath is working fine, and it's on this main board that's got a problem. Now you'll sometimes get nothing on the screen if some of the RAM is faulty as well. So we could have a look at that. We can still have a look at the scope and check the video out on here on the composite and see if there's a signal on there. That'll tell us if there's a signal coming out of the video chip. There's a few things we can do there. Other thing would be to check for voltages on these ICs to make sure they're all getting 5 volts. That'd be the other thing. And to check the voltages on here too, to make sure we've got the 5, the 12 and the minus 12 on here, and it's not fluctuating still. Because if it's fluctuating still, then it's going to have to be something in the power supply that's doing that. Alright, I might do that. I might just check the voltages first on the chips and on this header connector to see if it's a power issue or not. I think that's probably a good place to start. The only thing is we're going to have the speaker's going to be beeping at us while I'm at it, so I'll make the screen a bit smaller so you can see what I'm doing. Actually turn that off. What I'll do is with the meter, I want to check the voltages coming in. $5 volts, 12 volts minus, 12 volts plus. It's a little high, but it's not too bad. So what I'll do is I'll plug this keyboard in so it stops that consistent beeping, and that will stop it making that horrible noise while I check the rest of it out. And the other thing to know too is that these are not a standard keyboard that are on these machines. It is a Bondwell keyboard, so that's why it has the 9-pin connector on it. Right, so let's turn this on now, and that should stop that beeping. Yeah, and that has, which is good. So that's oh no. Ah, okay. So why are we getting that? We've got good voltages going to the... Oh, guess what? I wiggled a couple of things around and I pressed the alpha lock on the keyboard, and guess what's happened? Look what we have. It's booted. So it's gone to Bondwell-16 International Limited System Diagnostics Program. 128k of RAM is installed on the board. CRT test fail. Floppy disk drive test fail. Hard disk controller test fail. There we go. So it's telling us that there's an issue with the video, the floppy and the hard drive. Now, why is it saying there's an issue with the video? So it could be RAM. That could be video RAM it's talking about in the test, and in that it hasn't got enough RAM to display graphics. But this is coming from ROM. So these are characters in the ROM. So I think what we can do is power it off. And I'll power it on again to see if it boots up. If it does boot up, then what I will do is I'll plug the hard drive back in and see if it tries to boot off the hard drive. If it doesn't, I'll plug the floppy in and see if it wants to try and boot up off the floppy. If that doesn't work, then there's definitely something going on with this main board, and I'll have to dig out my other one of these that's comparable to it. Looks like someone's had a go at opening this up and munted all the corners around part of it. But anyway, I think that's where we need to go to with this one. It may have been just bad connections, but I still think there's something going on, and though that error with the graphics is possibly a RAM issue, or it's one of the controller issues for the video. Right, so I'm picking, none of the ICs are getting hot. Usually if it's a ROM or a RAM issue, you'll find that generally the chips get warm, and they're not. I may just plug the hard drive in and fire it up with the hard drive plugged in, but I might get the scope too and just check on that output port on the composite out to see if, well, actually I could probably use the Commodore monitor and see if I could get a composite out on that. That would be worth a try. I just have to plug it back in again because I unplugged it. So I will do that, and then what it might do is give it a try. See if we get anything on. Okay, so I've moved the camera so I've got both of the screens. I got the Bondwell and the Commodore in shot. Turn that on so the Commodore's come on. Let it warm up a little. And if I need to, I can zap the green screen button at the front here anyway. So let's see if this fires up. No, getting nothing out on that. Definitely. So, still nothing on the bottom one either. So, as I was thinking before, it probably is on that board. Because we're just getting pulsing. Just getting pulsing. It could... I had the hard drive plugged in as well on the little board over the side, and that made no difference. I had the hard drive plugged in over the back here as well, but it's made no difference to it. The other thing I can do is, because that's not getting any signal, I could check around on here and just have a look. Hopefully it's not the ROM that's gone weird on this. So anyway, I will have a check and let's see if we can see any issues with any of the chips on here. We'll check out the voltages. Right, so I'm picking there is an issue going on there somewhere, and the voltages around these main chips here, which is part of this video circuit, seem to be okay. I need to look up the data sheet on a couple of these chips. I'm pretty sure that's a RAM, so that'll be video RAM. I need to look up the data sheet on that so I can find out where the data pins are, so I can put the scope on it and find out what's going on. I'm pretty sure that's the ROM, that's the video ROM. I need to dig out the schematics so I can have a look and see where we go from here. Alright, so I'll do that and then we'll get back into it. Okay guys, so I've done a bit of looking around. A couple of chips I can't find anything on. That's a Bondwell chip. I'm pretty sure it's a character ROM. Not 100% sure. There's a couple in here. That's an 8-bit by 2048-bit SRAM, high speed. That is a combiner, a 3-channel. It's a specific chip for these. That is part of our video circuitry there. The problem being is that this one here, the brown one, is the video images that are going down to the bottom board, because those go to the keyboard and those are our power in. Now I've been going around the scope and I went around all these chips here. The problem I had is the information coming out of here is not there, and I checked it on here, and when I check it on here there's actually no signals getting to here. So there's no signals going down to the board underneath. So if that's the case, then it's not going to fire up. So what I can do is I'll switch it on and I'll show you what I mean. And as you can see, there's something not right on this board. That's got a very, very weird signal coming out of that one. So I'm picking it as something on this top board, and it's not the bottom one. Get rid of that. And even after I clear that, it still has that weird, it comes and goes. As you can see. As I say, there's nothing else on these others. So this is meant to be the information that's going down there, and it was the same on the RF on the back of this. If I do that, I'll take the center pin on that. And as you can see on there, it's just a very, very, very low signal. There's not much on there at all. So I'm picking it's something on here. Now, these two should be, they're still available second hand. I don't know if I can get them new. And the video chip. As I said, I hope it's not this ROM, because if it's the ROM, I don't know. That's if it is a ROM and it's not a specific chip for Bondwell, then it might be up a creek without a paddle. But as I said, I probed around here a little bit. Some of the data lines and some of the address lines are not taking off. So that's why I'm picking it could be around the video chip. And I'm picking it. I mean, the chips are not hot. I mean, that's stone cold. That's stone cold. Warmish. There is a wee bit of heat. And this one, not a lot. It's warmish. It's not hot. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to break out the schematics for this Bondwell-16. The problem is they're not very good. They're a pretty bad copy. So I will go away and do that. I think we'll leave this one here. And I will go away and work on those to see if I can find out where we go from here back onto the board. And then I can start seeing where the signals are and where they're coming from. I haven't checked the Z80 because it tends to be booting up fine. So I mean, this is going through the basics of startup, and then it's getting to the error. So it is loading the ROM, which is over here. So that probably is the character ROM, and I hope it's not bung. But it could be something along here, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to have to get the schematics out, and I'll try and backtrack from this plug here to see where we're going. Hi guys. Well, I did a bit more digging around, as you will see shortly, and talked to a few people on some of the other computer forums on the net, and it does point towards being the video processor that could be the issue. That's why I was not getting anything down on here on the video connector here that's going down to the baseboard. So I've desoldered the chip out of the board, and I'm going to put a socket in here because I've ordered a couple of these chips in for these boards, because as I say, I have got two other machines, and so if they ever decide to play up on the video side of things, I'll have spares for them. So I'm just bringing you guys up to date what's going on. So those chips are going to be a couple of weeks away, so I don't know if the following week after the next one is going to be a continuation of this. It just depends on the parts turn up. If not, I might have to put this to a side and do something else while we're waiting for those bits to come in. But yeah, I'm up to here. So as I say, I've just desoldered this chip out. I'm going to whack in a socket, solder it up, and then put it aside and wait for these other chips to come in. Because there's, other than putting another board in, I don't know. I mean, all that will tell us is that the bottom one's fine, and I think it is, because it's not getting anything to display. So I think it is fine. In all honesty, is either in here, the RAM, or this combiner chip that might have an issue. I should have looked at grabbing a couple of these just in case. Now these aren't dear. These processor chips, I think it cost me like $12 for 2, including freight. So they're not expensive. I will just hope that it's not this Bondwell character chip, because you can't get replacements for these. I don't know if they are like the ROMs, and which are a 2732. I don't know if they're like that and we could read it. And if we can read it, we could probably burn another ROM if it's an issue. Or if this one's not working and it is a ROM, I could possibly get one off the 14 I have boots. It's just the drives have issues, and I've got to work out what's going on with them. I've recapped them, but they're still having issues reading discs. And one of them had the broken strap, and I don't think I got that quite in the right place for the head seeking. If in all honesty we need to, we can pop the ROM out of that one and then take an image of that. I have to, there's a chappie on the Vintage Computer Forum who wants a copy of the BIOS out of the 16. So I'm going to pop that out and make an image for him, and upload it to him there, or email it to him if he wants it. Okay guys, so I think that's where we're to. I will pop a socket and that in here. You don't need to see me soldering more stuff. So I will do that, and then hopefully we will see you with the next one with some new chips. Thanks for coming along, and as I always say, have a great day, have a great week, and until next time, ciao.